Alright, what is going on, guys? So, I'm just going to do a one-take clip here talking about something that I think probably is not what you're expecting me to talk about on this channel, but as you guys know, over the last year, 2 years, I've definitely changed a lot. I've seen a lot of things come and go in the fitness world, my life. I've learned a lot, I've researched a lot, I've grown my mind a lot, become more aware, really focusing more so on how I'm actually interfacing the world as a human being. And when you guys first started watching this channel, you know that at the beginning I was in a relationship, I was in a long-term relationship, I was in a relationship for 3 years, and that does have to do with what I'm going to be talking about today. And ultimately the overarching thing that I want to discuss is taking the responsibility for each individual action that you do every day, and the action that you've done in your life, the actions you've done in your life. And that is referring to both good and bad. And what I want to get into is the fact that until you surrender yourself to the fact that you do have responsibility for every single thing that you do and that occurs in your life, yes, there's obviously chance involved, there's things that could happen, but the majority of the time with the relationships we have, with the friends we have, the significant others that we have, our family, all those relationships, the way we communicate, the way we analyze our own thoughts, how aware we are, our actual desire to become more aware and actually be honest with ourselves is all down, it comes down to us. We have the ability to do this. And for someone to think that you should be entitled or that somebody else is the one who created your problems, which in some cases it might be, but from the day-to-day things that most people deal with, we are responsible for the majority of things that happened. And the example I want to give, and one of the biggest examples and things that I see often, is in relationships. And people thinking that just because something ends, that it's the other person's fault. And that often, although we did have a part in it, and we know we have a part in it, we don't surrender the fact that that person was trying their best. And if they weren't, well then shame on them. But knowing that I myself have the ability and was probably ultimately responsible just as much as that other person for that scenario gives me a lot of power in order to move on with my own life. The ability to surrender the fact that you were wrong, that you did make mistakes, that you're not perfect, and that that situation just wasn't right. You were two opposing beings that just weren't meshing. And that is okay. But the ability to analyze that and understand that and move on without heartache, without saying horrible things, without utilizing the emotion of anger in a negative manner on and putting that on another person because you feel the need to project you and your feelings onto them because of how hurt you feel, when in reality, that hurt and that feeling is real. But why it's there is not that person's fault. They might have a role in it. But to sit here and think that that person needs to do something or needs to take advantage and say, hey, since I fucked up, I really want to apologize. They need to apologize for their role in it, but at the same time, if you're sitting in denial, thinking that you never did anything wrong, you're going to eat yourself alive from the inside out, thinking that you are entitled, that you're perfect, that you don't have those same sort of problems that everyone has. And what I'm trying to get at here is I had a lot of problems taking responsibility for actions in my life. I felt that the end of that relationship, the things that were happening were a lot of times not my fault. That I was doing things that were for me, which I was. But I thought that just because that was the case, that my significant other at the time was wrong. That there was no positive outlook from their perspective. And a lot of times in certain situations, that person does not give any positive outcomes and it does not give any sort of positivity into the situation because they're so in denial. But for you to understand the fact that, quite frankly, your thoughts, the ability for you to understand what goes in your mind, analyze emotions, and actually understand each individual thing that you do has a dramatic impact on the way you interface with the world, the way you literally interact with people that you meet, strangers, people you know. it will give you an immense power to understand and literally be able to control your own mind. Our mind is the most powerful thing we have, and the ability to understand and analyze things and allow them to pass without having an emotional reaction to it will make you so much happier as a person and will cause you so much. It will literally just determine how much stress you have in your life and how that stress affects you. That's all I can really say. And I hope this helps. I hope this wasn't just me rambling and a bunch of different thoughts that made no sense. But ultimately what I want to say is take responsibility for every action that you make as a human being. If it's something that has your control and you have the ability to make that situation change for the better or understand why that situation happened and become a better person and a smarter person for it, you need to. And you need to do it honestly. That is the biggest thing. Be honest with yourself. Analyze your thoughts. Analyze your mind. Be willing to look at emotions and really analyze them before you act upon them. Hopefully this helps you guys out. I'll talk to you in the next one. And yeah, thanks for listening if you did.